Okay. My name is Kris Voorhees. I'm an alumni here at the Jackson School. I graduated 2014 in my undergrad and 2016 for my master's. My story is, I guess, a bit of an intro into field geology led by Charlie Kerans. So during my undergrad, Charlie did some consulting work for a group out in Exxon, and he invited me to essentially be a pack mule on the trip, but I would also learn quite a bit at the same time. Charlie, of course, is very experienced out in the field, and in his fashion, he kind of gave us a quick debrief as to what to expect and what to pack while out there. And I should preface this with saying this was my first multi-night camping trip, so I didn't exactly know what to bring and have all the gear already. So of course I went to REI, bought a bunch of stuff, ended up going out along the Pecos River, and this was a 4-night, 5-day trip where we were paddling down, studying the geology along there and camping along the banks. The very first 30 minutes of this trip, me and my partner Ben Smith, who also graduated 2014, capsized our canoe in a series of rapids. We all went into it thinking, we were good athletes and this wouldn't be that hard, but when you have about 100 pounds of gear in a canoe, the dynamics of the canoe start to change very quickly. So anyway, we go down this series of rapids and we end up capsizing all of our gear, yard sails. Ben and I are attempting to try and get the canoe unstuck from being wedged in between a rock that's poking out. And so slowly but surely, we get our bearings, get the canoe out. We end up just floating down the rapids, holding on to the canoe. And at this point, the group is already well ahead of us, and everybody's waiting on the bank. They see piece by piece all the gear that we had and all the food, as well as our own camping gear, float by. And then finally, we end up floating by. And I just remember the smile on Charlie's face and the loudest cackle echoing in those canyons that we were in. I'm sure that brought him a lot of joy, and as well as the rest of the group. So anyway, all of our camping gear was completely soaked. That first night was when I learned just how hard limestone is after sleeping on a wet sleeping bag without a sleeping pad. I didn't even realize that's two things that you need on a camping trip. But fast forward, the rest of the Exxon group, they were all very kind and generous. They ended up sharing their camping gear with me, even sharing their tents with us. And the rest of the trip was absolutely a blast. We saw incredible geology. I saw some of the most beautiful giant crossbed sets that I had seen for my first time. And I also got to learn, how to work in a collaborative environment with a group of professional geologists. We would all split up, measure section, and then at the end of the night, put together a geological story along the campfire. And that was, of course, shared by good times and tequila. So all in, it was a rude awakening into field geology, but it was also one of the most memorable experiences I had and a great kickstart into understanding what it's like to be part of Charlie's group, which of course I was for the rest of my undergrad and my master's degree.